Welcome to the Classic IndyCar Series podcast. I'm your host, Josh Baird, and I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while. I also have a very special person, Mr. Three-Time himself, Robert Grosser, on the hook with me today. We did skip quite a few weeks in between podcasts, and one of the reasons for that was because I didn't really like how I felt the podcast went the last time, so I took a step back and we're going to actually bring you some new content in a new format that hopefully improves some of the interactions, gets you more out of the podcast. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this and hearing everybody's feedback. So we got what we're calling a super podcast today, I guess, Robert, right? We're just going to cover Kansas. We're going to cover Motegi, Watkins Glen, and Richmond. We're going to knock out all four of those races. Normally we would try and only knock out two. How are you looking forward to this super podcast?
Yeah, hey everybody. Thanks Josh for having me today. Pretty excited to kick off the second half of the season with what you call a super podcast, and definitely looking forward to recapping those four races because they were pretty incredible, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that this season has just been a new level of competition. One of the things that's kind of crossed my mind, even coming into this mid-season break, I was trying to think of things that I've appreciated so far about this season. And we are halfway through the season, and there's only one person that's won more than once. So that is quite the achievement that Lucas Laville is the only multiple winner so far this season. And that's just a testament to how much the competition stepped up in 2021, and I think it's a testament to how well you guys as administrators put these races together to make sure that there's plenty of, what do you want to call, diversity in these races to make sure that all disciplines are being challenged between the street courses, ovals, and road courses. So stacking up the road to road and then the oval to oval has made for interesting challenges as well. So I am definitely pleased with how this season is going so far. So we are going to start off with Kansas, and as a part of the new content, what I'm going to do is we're going to play a reel for you real quick. Well, this one's going to be a little longer because this was so action-packed for Kansas. But we're going to play a highlight reel, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about the race, maybe throw in a couple of audio clips in there from the race as we discuss it. So let's go ahead and listen in to the clip for Kansas, and then we'll get started.
Oh man, Wilson and Lambert. Oh, look out! One car sliding down, way in the background, slams the inside wall. Matt Molnar is totaled that Dallara IR05. I think that was a self-inflicted error. Matt Molnar's car is toast. He will not be finishing this race. That will likely spell the end of his day. Caution number 3 on lap 33. And yeah, it was a little bit of a twitch, and then the car just came around on him.
Yep, and it's unfortunate because once you get into that inside wall as well, that means...
hello, we got a crash and a caution here. Arbiguin just spun in the back of the pictures there.
Oh my goodness. I'll listen to hear what anyone's saying on the radio.
For green flag pit stops. That battle for 6, though, is getting a heck of a lot closer here. They almost wrecked off of turn number 4, and now they're dicey for positions here as they enter turn 1 once again for the 48th time today.
Take a look at Willie Schwabauer. He is the second in the back of this pack. He is looking very aggressive, almost forced it 3 wide just a lap ago. We'll see if he tries to force anything here. Oh, there was almost some contact in the 2 in front of this battle.
Now with side-by-side action here, you can take a look at the battle for the race lead down low, bottom right of your screens, and then of course you got the top, this main battle here for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th raging center stage here. Goodness gracious, this is absolutely incredible. The sights we're seeing here at the third round of the 2021 Classic IndyCar Series season here at Cane Spear. The first of many over races. Big bobble there for Paulie Parton as he's lose a lot of precious ground to Todd Novosad just behind, who then gets pitched up towards the wall for turn one.
We are 14 laps away from the halfway point. Caution. Oh no. Yeah, that's
taken.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. The points leader is done.
Grosher takes the second spot away from Garrett. Now Garrett's under fire.
Oh no!
Oh, look out! Oh, Hoffman's in the wall. Hang on to it, Hoffman. Keeps it out. Hoffman still trying to save it, and will this be a... Oh, this has to be a caution out. There it is. Caution flag is out. That was great. It's bad that Hoffman crashed, but good job on Hoffman to keep that out of everybody else. That saved the field. Because this is just absolutely insane. It's not like Long Beach where we lost for words because of how little action there was. This time it's of how much action there is. Look at Simmons now with the outside run. As Stanley really wants Garrett down. Now Simmons gets chopped off on the outside line.
How these drivers have not just completely lost it is beyond me.
Caution flag is out. This is a game changer here. Liam Quinn upside down in turn number 3 and 4 with Robert Grosher after the two of them tango bingo, both of them flipped upside down. This has changed the whole outlook of this race, Dylan.
Yep, absolute game changer right there. I didn't quite see what happened, but I mean, that just happened out of nothing.
The way some guys try to jump the start, that means they're double file already in the run down the one star finish line. One car's getting swinged into the wall. Johnny Garrett makes a Garrett pass from the outside of Dante and nearly scrapes the wall in the process. It went by, thought he might have scraped the wall as a matter of fact. One car clipping the apron, that's Rob Carpenter trying to bend up. No, that's time, no, it's not going to around.
No.
On top of this, a Chimera car, Wilson. They saved that.
What?
No, they do not. How do you save that? Four cars off the ground on top of another, no caution, and they save it.
What?
One car also on the outside wall as Logan Simmons now gets put to the wall as well from Rod Carpenter.
What just happened?
Everything. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I don't... What? How did he save that? He was literally on top of him. What?
Around at turn number 3, he was coming down the pit road with Rod Carpenter. Now he's stopped on the apron of 3 and 4 just now. Got to tow back to pit lane. Still no caution.
He's back on pit lane, and now we're only going to have 10 drivers. These guys right here.
The clouds once again begin to descend.
Oh,
no! Big crash. Look out in front of the field. Huge crash there. One car gets sent to the moon. Johnny Garrett with a tremendous accident and still flipping his Cody Luke down into the infield grass. The rookie out of the race who was getting set to maybe go for a win. And that was the two lap cars that tangled together. And one of them got launched straight into outer space. Did not know NASA had an IndyCar program. Idea, but that means it's a 3-horse race now out in front. 2 laps to go. 2 miles left in the race here as they hit the back straightaway. Look at how far down the apron LaVille tries to defend as Schwarbauer continues to try to fight the outside line. Coming around now for the final time in the race. Race is official. White flags out. It's ending this lap no matter what happens. Marshall Stanley trying to get the run down the inside line. Will he make the pass with lead? Will he block for his teammate? Lucas LaVille continues to fight down at the apron. Marshall Stanley closing with the trap. Closing. Schwarbauer side by side on the outside line for second place. Through turns 3 and 4 though. Stanley will not be able to get there in time. Lucas LaVille will come over the final corner. He is once again a race winner and he wins it here at Kansas. Marshall Stanley picks up second place as Schwarbauer finishes out the podium with Baird and Gerlicka having to settle for 4th and 5th behind.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Classic IndyCar Series podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this new highlight reel we're going to try and include in all of these races as part of the broadcast. Man, after watching that, Robert, that race, it was probably my new number 1 favorite. Just watching all the lead changes, all the action. It's funny, when I was making this cut for this podcast, or for the podcast, you know, my other races were 2-3 minute long videos. I had to cut stuff out to make this thing like 5 to 7 minutes long.
Yeah, Kansas was definitely a wild ride. Also, um, it was exceeding my expectations. The track was all of a sudden like pack racing, which I couldn't remember that it was the same in 2018 when we raced there. So it was definitely action filled. We had 41 lead changes. Can you believe that in a 300
Wow.
mile race? So that's a number, and yeah, I mean you could hear it in the excitement from the commentators. They were almost losing their voices because every time something was going on, there was not a quiet moment.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It was just something else to watch. I know as a driver, that race kind of just took it out of me. I was so burnt out after the end of that race just because it was so tight. I think at one point I saw there was 5 or 6 rows deep of two wide racing, and just to have that, and some of the moves people were making, we know each other out on the track. I feel well enough now. I know there was a couple of issues on the track there that we'll discuss here in a little bit, but I feel like we know each other well enough that we were able to race tight enough to have some good quality racing. I know we kept the broadcasters on the edge of their seats, but I think we were pretty professional in what we were doing there. But the funny thing is starting off with the Kansas race, something I don't think I've ever seen in Classic IndyCar Series history was we had a starting grid of Nate Michael, Andrew Aiken, Rod Carpenter, Michael Gerlicka, and Felipe Lambert. But like only 2 of those guys showed up for the actual race start. So Felipe was uh, on the pole position, and he started 5th place.
Yeah, that was really crazy. Definitely, we had it once in CIS history that the pole setter had like connection issues and couldn't grid on time. But here, having P1 and P3 missing the grid, and then all of a sudden P5 becomes the new pole sitter. Lots of confusion on the pace lap. Who's the real pole sitter? Who is in danger of getting a black flag or stuff like that? And that contributed to a really messy start also, with lots of hesitation in the field, lots of checkups because nobody really knew like what to do, and nobody wanted to get the black flag also. So that was it started in a very wild way already.
Yeah, that was just wild. I remember on that start, I was like, "What the heck is going on out here?" Because it definitely screwed up everybody. I think Rod Carpenter ended up having an issue with his setup. If I remember correctly, he had his quali set up on accident and didn't get switched to the race one on time. But yeah, so getting started off, I mean, it was just so much action coming off the gate there with getting kind of stacked up throughout that. So we actually did not have really much incidents until the first caution, which was between Logan Simmons and Randy Shoemake. It stayed pretty quiet there for a little while, and then we had a second caution when Rod Carpenter spun there on caution number 2. But I was nice to see Lambert up front. He did really good on qualifying, top 5, and then he was holding out the lead there for quite a while. Was just hanging out right there in a podium spot for most of the beginning of that race. Did you guys get a chance to talk to him at all and find out how he was feeling from that Kansas race, or do you remember kind of how he was feeling about that?
To be very frank, I have to ask Lucas about that because Philippe only talks French. So although he's always with us on the Vortex Discord during the races, there is not too much like verbal interaction, so to say.
Okay.
What I saw, of course, what was quite obvious, he was leading the most laps. He always went for track position. So in all the early cautions, he stayed out and stayed in the lead, while the others went for fresh rubber and fresh fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously was hoping that this is the right strategy. in the end, it was not meant to be, as he finished P8 with 1 lap down, but that may have also had other reasons.
Yeah, I noticed that
I think
as.
there was a
Oh,
crash or something he was involved.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think. Trying to look at my notes
I think it was
here.
Garrett on the front on the main straight even, but we
Okay.
will talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was doing great though. I was very proud of him for seeing him stay out there and hang out with the lead. Even there was one time later on in the race, which we'll probably get to, where he stayed out and he was like 30 laps down on tires, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna get swallowed as soon as the green flag drops," and he actually held the lead up until the next caution. So we'll get to that in a bit, but let's see here. I think then the next caution was the end of Matt Molnar's day when he spun, and then oddly enough, this was another one of those things with Kansas Speedway that we had just the weirdest incidents happen. McEwen spun under caution. He was going to check up, locked his brakes, and turned straight into the barrier on the outside wall. So unfortunate early end to McEwen, but that was just the beginning of the interesting events that happened at Kansas Speedway. And then at about halfway through the race, we had a huge battle for P6. I believe, it was quite a few people. I don't have that list on me, but oh man, it was such a good thing to watch. Watching those commentators just losing their voice over watching that P6 battle. And then we actually had a caution come out of that when there was a contact between Andrew Aiken and Joshua Chin. So why don't we take a moment really quick and we will listen to this clip with Aiken and Chin.
No, not for Lambert. Lambert's going to have to come down much sooner than that, because remember, Felipe Lambert has not been... Oh, big loose moment there for Andrew Aiken. Nearly wipes out the entire top 5, and that splits up the battle for the race lead here in a big way. Andrew Aiken loses out on that battle here. That is really going to close up here. Back from 6, 7, and 8 behind. And look at the cars in the background just starting to storm up on these guys, and now they're going to go 2, almost 3 wide to get around them, but... As I was saying, Felipe Lambert has not pitted at all today yet, so he's got significant less fuel. Oh, contact! Chin's in the wall!
Oh,
Hard
boy.
traction in the wall, one up and over. Chin flipping wildly down the back straightaway. One more car upside down towards the inside wall. That was Andrew Aiken. Chin still barrel rolling all the way down. Caution is out for the 3rd time today, a quarter of the way into the race.
Yeah, so Robert, after watching that clip, I'm curious to see, maybe a little bit of your opinion on what happened there. I know for me, racing incidents happen. It was unfortunate to see, but why don't you give us a little bit of race analysis on what you saw, and maybe what maybe if there was a hindsight bias, what we could have done differently to maybe prevent that incident.
Yeah, well, all race long it was obviously close racing, so something can happen. Both drivers disagreed on who was to blame for that one, but that's also racing, that's normal. And so, yeah, since I am also one of the race stewards, like we had then the task to really judge on that. And it was, in the end, it was like a matter of like holding your line, even in such a hot racing situation. So Andrew Aitken had to serve a penalty then for the following race. He was deemed to be at fault for that one, for making contact with Chin. But again, like in such close racing, things can easily happen, and we had lots of this in the whole race.
Oh, definitely. I agree 100% on that. It is it is a part of the racing, and I agree that Aiken did take a tight line. I totally agree with the stewards. I help review as well, and I totally agree with the stewards' outcome of the race. One thing I did notice is the lap before, Aiken actually started wobbling, so it almost makes me think maybe he was like, "Oh, here my car's getting loose. Let me tighten up the weight jacker." And then second time around, maybe his car got tight because he put too much weight jacker in there. But total speculation. It's really hard when you're racing too wide, especially in these Indy cars. You're doing 120 miles per hour coming out of turn two. It takes a split second to decide if you're the inside guy, if you're pushing too wide, or if you're the outside guy and you need to back out to let him go, or you're just going to try and gamble for that position. And it was unfortunate for both of them. I think both of them were having a great race and contending for a top five, if not a win in that. So it was too bad to see, but it's just a sign of the Kansas racing. I believe that was caution number 4 of 8 for that race, which is kind of funny to think about because I'm looking at some of these other races and what was it? Richmond, I believe it was. No, it was Motegi. We only had 4 cautions, and which we'll get to that here in a bit. But we almost ran out of time, and here we are at Kansas with double those cautions and still made it on laps. So just kind of interesting to see how many cautions we had that race. But soon after the Aiken chin contact, Nate Michael ended up retiring with internet issues. I'm not sure he was even in contention for the lead when he had to retire, but I could be wrong there. And then later on, caution 5, Ethan Egan lost his opportunity to keep his points lead locked up. So he ended up crashing out, which was the point when Lambert decided he was going to stay out and stay for the position with the 30-lap-old tires. And, watching the replay, I was like, I don't know if I would have made that same call, but he held the lead for quite a bit. The only thing I'm wondering, because he did end up finishing a lap down, is maybe he also had to pit under green flag, lost his lap that way.
Well, that's possible. I don't remember precisely because the race took place already in April, but therefore, but as you said, for Ethan, it was really a shame to have this kind of crash happening because he was like super consistent. The season won the season opener.
Mm-hmm.
But we will come to that later. He's still in contention, so he didn't lose too much at Kansas.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm very happy to see where he's come, being a part of SRC. I think that's really helped with the competitive nature of this season, having another team out there to contend for team points and have a couple guys that got together here in the off season and now working together to have a really good showing. It's unfortunate for Garrett. He seemed to run into a lot of bad luck so far, including this race here. But we'll go ahead and move forward. Then the next caution was Jan Hoffman. He ended up crashing. And then there was just a wild part after that accident that was, I don't know. In my notes, I put awesome commentary. I just felt like that there's a chunk of the race where it was just one lap after the other. You did not know who was going to be in the lead. It was, 3 or 4 deep, 2 wide action, and it made for such a fun race to watch. Watching the broadcasters lose their voice was just a lot of fun. Just goes to show the competitiveness of this season. So towards the end of the race, caution 7, we had Liam Quinn had his VR headset crash and unfortunately collected you with him. I'm sure you have some emotions on that incident.
Yeah, I mean, okay, what can you do? It was I remember that I was losing the position to Liam just before or even during the pit stops or something like that. We came out like running as a tandem out of the pits. So I was actually quite happy to have a draft partner. Maybe thinking that when we work together, we can catch up to the group ahead of us, because we lost a bit of ground during this long green flag run. But yeah, it was not meant to be. I mean, for such thing, you can never blame anyone. His VR headset had a malfunction. He tried to get out of the way somehow, but when you don't see anything and when you run at such speeds, there is nothing you can do. And I was just at the wrong place, so it's actually it's just tough luck and nothing to get get upset about or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I like to tell people, they're like, "Oh, is there engine failure in iRacing?" I was like, "No, it's more like your PC dies and you have an engine failure that way, or your VR headset crashes out." So I've experienced that when I used to race in VR, and it's really tough to deal with because your screen goes black, you're totally blind, there's nothing you can do. And I mean, good on Quinn to try and get off the track as quickly as possible when that happened. Unfortunately, you were underneath him when that happened. So yeah, as you said, nothing you can do. It's just one of those technical problems that comes with racing. We can't control everything, unfortunately, no matter how hard we try. So, moving on after that, there was a little bout that happened, I'll call it. It was kind of a 2-lap incident with Rod Carpenter that Todd Novosad and Jamie Wilson got collected when they kind of ran into Rod Carpenter, and then I think the following lap, Logan Simmons also was affected by Rod Carpenter trying to get back up to speed, and he ended his race too. So an unfortunate situation there. I don't know. It's just that track is so fast. It's really hard to avoid everybody all the time. And to be honest, I'm surprised that there wasn't a caution that came out of that. And it was kind of entertaining, actually, to listen to the broadcasters sit there and talk about how Wilson kind of bounced off Todd Novosad but saved the car. I think Nolan actually squeaked his voice a little bit doing that, and we have that in the highlight reel clip. But that wasn't too bad. Stayed green for us, and then caution 8 is when Johnny Garrett crashed. I just feel like he's had an unfortunate race so far this season. He's a good driver. He's been having a lot of success, just running into a lot of issues.
Yeah, I feel like all the bad luck that you can have over one season. It's not just bad luck, maybe some wrong decision here and there, but that can happen racing at such speeds and all. You have that during a season, and for Johnny, it was so unfortunate it all came into one race. I mean, like, everything really went wrong. He had a couple of contacts before, a couple of misfortune, and then this crash here, the caution number 8 colliding with Philippe. That was just like, in the negative way, the cherry on the cake, pretty much, and like a race to forget for Johnny.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got a second half of the season. He's sitting 18th right now. Hopefully he can find what he needs to here in this summer break to get back and be up front and stay up front the entire race. I really think that he can do that. He's capable of it. I think he's got some sort of mental block going on right now. And once he finds out what's going on, I think he's going to be a contender for a lot of these last half of the races. So we're going to wrap up. I want to watch this clip of the last 5 laps just because it was 2-3 wide, or 2, yeah, I think we went 3 wide, with the top 5 people for the track, top 4 people of the track. So let's listen in on this clip really quick.
Next caution ends the race. So at this point in time, a caution is what LaVille wants. It's what he needs to secure a victory here today. Right now, that's the last thing that everybody behind him wants, so they all want to go have a run here at this win. 4 to go.
My, oh my. If we do get to the final lap and there is an incident, we'll stay green. That's just how it works here in iRacing.
Marshall Stanley still having to go defensive here against Lucas LaVille. He might not try something desperate until it's the very last lap. They all want this race to finish under green here, but how desperate do you get when the white flag hits? Just 3 to go, 4.5 miles left in the race.
When you've got 3 drivers all right there, they can see the lead, they can smell it, and Marshall Stanley, Schwalbauer, and Baird, they can get their first win.
And look at this. Schwabauer's not giving up. He's still trying to pull the outside line, but no luck for him. He's going to have to slot back in with Josh Baird, who lets off to let him in. Baird is starting to slow.
What happened?
Does he have a problem here?
Is he out of fuel? Or is he... What happened there?
No idea, but that means it's a 3-horse race now out in front. 2 laps to go. 2 miles left in the race here as they hit the back straightaway. Look at how far down the apron LaVille tries to defend as Schwabauer continues to try to fight the outside line. Coming around now for the final time in the race. Race is official. White flag's out. It's ending this lap no matter what happens. Marshall Stanley trying to get the run down the inside line. Will he make the pass with lead, or will he block for his teammate? Lucas LaVille continues to fight down to the apron. Marshall Stanley closing with the trap. Closing. Schwabauer side by side on the outside line for second place. Through turns 3 and 4, though, Stanley will not be able to get there in time. Lucas LaVille will come over the final corner. He is once again a race winner, and he wins it here at Kansas. Marshall Stanley picks up second place, and Schwabauer finishes out the podium with Baird and Gerlicka having to settle for 4th and 5th behind him.
All right, so we just got done listening to the last 5 laps, and it was a great finish. Lucas LaVille takes the first win, I believe, of the season for him in that race. I know he's won 2 so far, but I can't remember if that was his first or second. And then it was his second?
First.
Okay, that was his first one. Okay, so Marshall Stanley takes second in a great follow on from Lucas LaVille, and then Willie Schwabauer in third. I know I was in that battle. I lost it kind of there, 2 laps to go, and kind of took myself out of contention there. I was a little disappointed. I know they made a comment about I ran out of fuel or something, but I think I just let off because I didn't want to create an accident with Willie there and take us both out. So that lost my momentum and backed me out of the race. But great finish overall. It was a lot of fun. I know right there in the last 5 laps, it got really tight with me and Marshall, and then Willie was just trying his hardest to get up there and stay with Marshall and Lucas, but they were just running too tightly together to be able to make any passes work. So congratulations to Lucas for his first victory there at Kansas, Marshall for his podium, and Willie as well. I think overall the great race. There was a lot of people that impressed me through that race. I think Lambert, if he would have stuck it out, he ended up finishing 8th. Jamie Wilson with his issue still finished on the lead lap, surprisingly, so in 7th position. Hans Pikkinen had a great race. Michael Gerlicka also with the top 5, so a lot of great people that ended up having a good race. So I think that's all we got for Kansas. I usually do a most impressive driver. I did not do the one for Kansas, sorry guys, and then I usually do a moment of race, which I also did not get a chance to grab that. So we'll go ahead and try and get those for these next ones, but we're going to go ahead and give our sponsors a quick shout out before we head to the next segment. SimRace 24/7 is an independent website providing non-stop content as well as interviews, race reports, features, investigations, analysis, and reviews. If it's about sim racing, then it's on SimRace 24/7. Ran by the team of Paul Velasco, editor Darren Buckner, and contributor Sam Tomlinson. Check them out on their website, https://simrace247.com. Welcome back to the Classic IndyCar Series podcast. We're here on the second segment. Josh Baird here, and Robert Grosser. We're going to go ahead and cover all these races that I was a little delayed in getting around to so far this season. So we're calling this the super episode. We are now on race 2 of 4 that we will be covering today. And this one was Twin Ring Motegi. This is kind of one for me that I get a little nervous when I see it on the schedule because setting this car up for this is just a nervous wreck. And that turn 4 exit always gives me nightmares. I think I have PTSD to this day of the turn 4 spin. So I did not attend the race. I did try and help the team out with the setup. I think we ended up doing well with Iconic, but I'll probably pass some of these comments and stuff on to you since you had a little more firsthand experience there. First of all, how did you feel that the Motegi race went? I remember hearing in Discord that it was almost too foggy to broadcast.
Yeah, we had this phenomenon on the practice sessions that there was like 100% relative humidity, which results in fog. And when this server started, it was the same thing. However, what was different here is, and that's why I was quite, rather relaxed and thinking it will be good. Our session always starts with a 3 hours free practice in front of the actual race. So it was like, I don't know, Motegi, let's say it was going green at 12 p.m. sim time. So it was at that time only 9 a.m. and it was foggy. So what happens then is usually when the air temperature increases, and that from 9 till 12 it will increase, then of course the humidity will decrease, so the fog will go away. And I know that Lucas was already about to start another session because he was really scared about the fog and all. In the end, we decided otherwise. We consulted RaceSpot also, asking them whether that is like something you can actually broadcast. They were saying it is fine. And then in the end, it was like when the actual race went green, it was like blue skies, no fog whatsoever, perfect weather. So
Okay.
Yeah, it turned out to be good.
Yeah, I to be honest, I was a little sad when I watched the replay and there was no fog. I was like, this could be CIS history. I don't think I've ever seen a race, or not race spot. I don't think I've ever seen an iRacing race where there was actual fog during the race. I mean, that was the first time for me as well. So I was kind of looking forward to it, a little disappointed it didn't happen, but I'm glad that it saved probably what would have been a lot more drama for Motegi. One of the key things that I noticed right off the bat was there was only 4 cautions. That kind of amazed me. I expected us to run out of time and to run the race on time. I'm pretty sure last time we were at Motegi was we also ran on time. So to see 4 cautions really made me happy. How do you feel like the 4 cautions? I mean, we got super close on time. I think it came down to what, like 30 seconds race in the of the race left before we would have hit time, but only 4 cautions.
Yeah, I mean, I knew before. Last time we ran, by the way, we had 3 cautions and made it on laps. That was 2019.
Okay.
We have to. So I knew that 4 cautions is the threshold. With 4 cautions, we could still make it on time. Sorry, on laps. We had 5, and that was just one too many in the end. So we were run 1 lap short. 200 laps
right.
we completed, which was the IRL race distance. Actually, we went for the kart distance, 201 laps. We only made 200 in the end. However, I mean, 2 things. First of all, like Motegi is a complete different track from Kansas. As you said, with turn 3 and 4, you really have to drive the car. You really have to be careful, and somehow that also you can see that on the racing each other also, because the people are just much more cautious. The lap times are much slower, 5 seconds slower than Kansas, because that was like flat out all the time. And the final part is that the trigger points for cautions is a bit relaxed on Motegi. We saw quite some spins out of turn 2 which did not trigger a caution as long as the cars like drift towards the infield. And where in reality, in a real life race, it would be an immediate caution. Here, it didn't trigger a caution. So we were quite lucky. We had some spins which didn't trigger a caution. So just 5 cautions and just 1 lap short. And a pretty exciting race, I have to say.
Yes, I do agree with that. I think Motegi was another race that I don't remember how many lead changes. I might have to actually look that up really quick. But
9.
there was 9 there.
9, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could. You're pretty good at keeping those stats on hand, so I'll probably lean on you for some of those questions. But to start off the race, Josh Chin got pole, and then Randy Shoemake got second for his qualification time. So pretty happy with him with his the AeroX team getting second place, and then looks like you ended up getting third that for qualifying that race. So pretty good start for you. We ended up having 26 people show up, and we had a great green start run. I expected an early caution just because, it was a new track for a lot of people. And, turn 4 could have been a bear for a lot of people. And I was expecting maybe somebody to, push it a little too hard off the bat, spin, and take somebody with them. So to see that we went green until lap 29 was quite the experience.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And even that thing was just a self-spin. So I think did we even have one multi-car contact? I don't know. I don't think so, almost. Because the drivers were just racing so respectfully and so, because of the nature of the track, really. I mean, so that was really great to see. And then we had obviously a very nice green flag run in the middle of the race, also with green flag pit stops even, and so Motegi just works always. We only had great races there always in CIS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's nerve-wracking as a driver just from the setup perspective, and then it's so unique in the fact that turns 1 and 2 are the deep banked oval, and then turns 3 and 4 are so flat and tight that you really have to decide how you're going to go with your setup, and you wonder how your opponent is also setting up the car. So I think when I did run that a couple years ago, I think I ended up finishing. So it was not an easy finish for me, and I'm sure everybody else was thankful for the race to be over at the end of Motegi. But the first caution was a self spin, and it was I'm probably not even gonna attempt his name because you say it so much better than I do. Stefan. Yes. Schlacker. So he spun starting the first caution, and then we got green flag again. And then a person that I saw that really was catching my eye in the race was Logan Simmons. He, I believe, had to start in the back.
I think so. Even from pit lane, could it be?
Yeah, pit lane or starting from the back, but he flew. Let's see here. On lap 45, he had moved up 16 spots into ninth place,
wow.
And so he was gaining just about 1 or 2 positions a lap. One position every other lap. So with Motegi, there's not really much passing room. You kind of have to have your elbows out a little bit to get around on that track. So to see him out there jumping up to 9th place was quite the sight to see there. But between those 2 cautions, that's one of the things I picked up. And then caution 2 was Lucas Laville. He spun on lap 60. Here in the notes I have contact with Nate Michael, but I don't remember exactly what happened there.
Some netcode. It was in turn 3 and 4. Some netcode. Unfortunate end for Lucas. It ended his race. Can happen.
Yeah, netcode's always the seems to be when the problem when you're racing these Indy cars is just so fast and these cars are so agile. I don't think that the netcode can quite keep up sometimes. But yeah, that was one of the incidents that I think really set Lucas Leveille back from a. I mean, obviously he's sitting at first right now, but that race result. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up. Just a moment. Twin Ring Motegi. He ended up finishing 23rd, so not a good way to end that race if you're chasing down a points championship. So unfortunate end for him. Um, and then I got noted down here on lap 60. Willie Schwabauer had a great lead swap. I think it was just the technical ability watching him as a mainly a road course driver. Going out there on ovals, and I think he did a nice good arc into turns 1 and 2 and passed the person for the lead, and ended up having a good lead there for a little while. But then there was also a battle between Simmons, Quinn, Wood, and yourself. And this is one of those moments of the race that I thought that was going to be the moment of the race when I was sitting there taking notes and watching you guys battle through that halfway mark for those positions. I believe you guys were battling for eighth place, maybe sixth place.
Round 6, maybe, I think.
Yeah, so just watching you guys go through there, I think you guys were swapping out every other lap, and all four of you guys just keeping it nice and tight and good competitive racing. I think it really caught the attention of the broadcasters and myself as well. And then with 70 to go, you guys, or no, Molnar and Simmons got side by side and were literally side by side for 10 laps. I don't know how they did it. I would have just let somebody go at that point and went to fight another day because that was just insane. I don't know with how tight Motegi is. I don't know how they got away with that for 10 laps. But it ended up with Logan Simmons wiggling, got loose there, and then no, I'm sorry, he wiggled, which helps bring Liam Quinn into the battle. And then it was almost a three-person battle. And then Simmons and Molnar got tight coming out of 4, made some contact, and then their races both ended. So that ended up putting those two in 19th and 20th, respectively, from that contact. So an unfortunate end to that battle. It was amazing to see. That caused caution number 3. And then after that, it was 43 laps to go. Aitken, Schwabauer, and Shoemake were fighting. I think it was for the lead here. I wish I would have taken better notes on that. But I noticed this battle that went 3 wide at Twin Ring Motegi. I know that's a pretty daring move. How did you feel about like going 2 or 3 wide at Motegi?
I would not do that unless it is like maybe on the last lap for the win or something like that. Just too scared about turn 4.
Yeah.
So heads off if they were able. I mean, they were able to pull it off from what I remember because these 3 were like fighting it out for the race win in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite impressive stuff.
Yeah, I agree. With 43 laps to go, those guys going 3 wide, it's like, oh man, you guys are nuts. I wouldn't be doing that. But at the end of the day, they ended up pretty high up there. So I can't blame them for trying to push to make it competitive. And I think that they kept it green. So more power to them if they can keep it green and keep it going. But then with 31 to go, the 4th caution came out after Logan Simmons spun. I think I believe he had damage on his car at that point and just lost control. And then Randy Shoemake had an issue under caution, I believe, when he hit the. Or no, maybe this was under when it went green flag after the caution. Shoemake was going to accelerate and hit the 9,000 RPM kill switch, as we like to say in our IndyCar slang, and ended up ending his day.
I think
Let's.
he was able. I was behind him when it happened. So what I can tell you is he indeed lost it under throttle, but it was not like a full spin. He was drifting towards the inside wall after turn 4. So he lost all of his momentum, but he kept the car in one piece. And after he was the guy leading the most laps also, so he was definitely a force to consider in that race. But unfortunately, with this mishap there short prior to the end, he just finished 10th on the lead lap, but like 4 seconds back. Yeah, because you can't really recover from such a thing, and passing is also quite difficult at Motegi.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when you are on one tire or stuff like that.
Yeah, he never got a caution to give him that break to get back up there, so he kind of just fell out of the contention for the lead there. So unfortunate end for him. He did end up finishing 10th, and like you said, led the most laps. So the good with the bad there, I guess. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, that didn't help him out a ton in the points standings, but that left Aiken and Willie Schwabauer fighting for the lead. And then with a minute and 40 seconds left in the race, because I think at that time we were getting ready, we were bouncing between time and laps, like just within a couple of seconds. Schlacker hits the apron, or catches the apron and hits the wall, which caused caution number 5 and ended us at lap 200 out of 201 scheduled laps. So we almost made it on laps. I'm going to go ahead and say we made it on laps because that was too close to say we didn't. So it was unfortunate that we were one lap technically short and we ended on caution. So it would have been laps anyway. Even if we had enough time to do one more, I'm sure it would have still been laps. But made for quite an exciting ending to that Motegi race. And
we have to talk about Andrew Aitken here.
Yes.
For me, he was the man of the race. He had to serve a start from pit lane penalty. First thing. First caution, he was P19. Second caution, he was in the top 10 already. Slowly coming. And then all of a sudden he was there, he was in the mix. Then in the end, when it was like 3 guys battling it out for the win, he was there, he was among those 3. And then he kept the upper hand and went away with the win in his 57th CIS race, his maiden win coming from pit lane. Can you have it any better, actually? Or more deserving, or I don't know what to say. That was like so well executed and so well deserved also. Totally great moment for Andrew Aitken there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because I actually think we were going to give him the most impressive driver of the race for obvious reasons, like you said, starting from pit lane. And I want to bring this up because he started from pit lane partially because of the incident, the race before at Kansas against Josh Chen. So I almost felt like he had a chip on his shoulder to prove, like, hey, like, you know, this race incident happened in Kansas, but I'm still very capable of winning. I'm still very capable of having a clean race. And I think he did a tremendous job of proving that out there in that race. And I was so proud of him watching him get the win and bounce back from the unfortunate end at Kansas. So kudos to Andrew. He's definitely got my vote for most impressive driver. I think that he did such a great job to come away with the win. Willie Schwabauer as well as a rookie coming in here, taking his second or his next podium. I think that might have been his third podium of the season at that point. So yeah, it was just a great, and then Josh Chin coming in third, having a good season. He also had the pole position. But I am a little surprised to see Josh Chin where he is this season. So far, he's doing well, but maybe not as dominating, I guess, as I would expect him to be seeing so far this season. He's been great, but not like, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe because I feel like maybe the second half of the season we're going to see the Josh Chin that maybe that I'm looking forward to seeing this season. He had a third place finish there at Motegi. So
Yeah, we
any
have to.
other? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add a word on Josh Chin because we have to put a little bit of perspective to it. I mean, in Phillip Island, he had connection issues. He was missing the grid. He was starting the race, I guess, 10 laps down already, still bringing it home. He was dominating Long Beach, winning it
Yep.
easily. He got taken out at Kansas, so another DNF.
Yep.
Now here, third place in Motegi. And I don't want to put out the spoiler here for the next two races, which we are going to cover, but it was also like ups and downs. So, but it was not always like his fault. On so far on these 4 races, on 2 occasions, it was not his fault for not seeing the checkered flag
That is true.
or not scoring big points. Let's say.
That is a good point. It kind of seems like he does have a little bit of curse following him. I even feel like last year he had the curse of real life take him so close but just outside of contention for the championship, and then this year he's had those very unlucky moments. So I know that he is a very capable driver, and I know that we still have half a season left. I am fully expecting him to be as productive as he usually is. So I definitely I am looking forward to the second half of the season and seeing where, maybe we'll see some more podium finishes from him. But like I said, so far this season, we only have one winner that's won a race more than once. That's Lucas Laville. So it's been so fun going through this 2021 season with 4 different winners so far out of the 5 races. So we're going to go ahead and take a break from Motegi, and then we will come back here and hit our next race, which was Watkins Glen International with the bootleg layout. Another great race. I felt like there was a ton of action for a road course, and looking forward to cover that. So we're going to give our sponsors here about 30 seconds to go ahead and get their spiel out, and then we'll be back here in a bit.
IndyCar Ministry is the official pastoral care of the NTT IndyCar Series, Road to Indy, and the MX5 Cup. And we're focused on building relationships within the IndyCar community by serving those involved with the love of Christ. IndyCar Ministry is a non-profit, non-denominational organization that provides at-track services, counseling, and support in times of crisis for the IndyCar community at every race, as well as at home. IndyCar Ministry is supported entirely through donations from the racing community, and we invite you to partner with us. Visit our website at indycarministry.org, or like us on Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to see what we're all about.